So I've shown off Google Stadia a couple of times already on this channel, but never with the cloud-connected Google Stadia controller. YouTube recently gave away free Stadia Premier Edition kits with the YouTube Premium subscription, and I was able to grab one. And they're doing it again with pre-orders of Cyberpunk 2077 on Stadia. Should you get one? Stick around to find out. If you don't know me, my name is Matt Horton. I am a product manager and a musician, but here on YouTube, I make videos about the things that I'm passionate about, and that is tech, that's gaming, and that's the policy and the culture around those things. So if you want weekly deep takes on all of those topics, you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, and you will see me weekly. So what comes in the Stadia Premier Edition kit? Well, you get that controller that I showed you earlier, and you also get the Google Chromecast Ultra. You can tell that mine has only just been pulled out of the box recently because I have not been using this. I actually already have the brand new Chromecast with Google TV, which does not yet officially support Google Stadia, but you can check a video on my channel where I show you how to sideload Google Stadia, and it works perfectly fine. And also, I am just more focused on Google Stadia on the web, both on PC and on iOS. We know that Google Stadia is coming to iOS officially through a progressive web app, but I also have another video on this channel where I show off Stadium, a custom web browser built to run Stadia on iOS. I will be using those in this video. We're not actually going to use the Google Chromecast that came in the Premier Edition kit. We're going to focus on the controller and the service itself. So to set up your controller for the first time, you are going to want to download the Google Stadia app onto your phone. iPhone or Android, doesn't matter. Then you're going to hold this button right here, the Google Stadia button, until the light turns on. You should feel the controller vibrate. You'll go back to your Stadia app and you will touch the controller button. You should find your controller in the list. You'll select that. The controller should vibrate again. Go ahead and tap to continue. Select the Wi-Fi network that you want to connect your controller to. Enter your Wi-Fi password. If you've just unbox your controller might download an update. Let it do its thing and then tap OK. Your controller is now connected to your Google Stadia account. Now when you go to play Google Stadia on whatever device, you can tap or click on the controller and it will pop up a series of buttons for you to press on your controller. You press those 4 buttons in the order it says, and your controller is connected to that session. This is a really slick way to connect your controller to your session, but unfortunately, it doesn't allow for that really neat screen switching feature that we saw on Amazon Luna. Instead of being able to just say, I want to play on this device now, and the controller just moves over without you having to do anything, you do have to enter those 4 button commands onto your controller, and your session does shut down between gaming sessions. There's no way to just continue your session from your PC to your Chromecast Ultra. Hey, it's me a few days later. So I wanted to talk about gameplay here, but a little view into how I make these videos. Usually I will test the thing out, I will write the script, and then I will record B-roll, the video of me doing whatever it is that I am doing. And when I went to record B-roll for this video, I actually had a ton of issues with network connectivity on Google Stadia when I was playing on my PC over the web. And that's just not gonna fly, frankly. Now, I had a great time using Stadia on Stadium on iOS. I actually had a great time using it on Chrome on my Mac. I didn't test using Chromecast Ultra. I have used it fine on not a great connection on the Chromecast with Google TV, but for some reason on my Windows PC, in Chrome, using the Google Stadia controller with a hardwired Ethernet line into my PC, I was having a ton of connection problems. So many that Stadia was often kicking me out of the game, and I was getting a ton of network artifacting. Usually, I only have network artifacting problems right at the beginning of a session, and then it'll be fine. Now, the graphics on Stadia are usually pretty good. You know, these are not stellar graphics. I feel very similar about Stadia graphics as I do to Amazon Luna. They're not going to be the best graphics you've ever seen, but they're totally serviceable. They're pretty good. You're not getting PC style quality settings or anything like that, but you're getting pretty okay graphics, something I am comfortable playing. However, it's the inconsistency of that network connection that is really the problem here. And I never really could diagnose what was going on with my PC. And yeah, there probably is something up with my setup, but I tried Amazon Luna alongside it, and that worked just fine. In fact, when I made my Amazon Luna review, I got a couple warnings that there was a network issue, but nothing ever slowed down, and it definitely never even threatened to kick me out of the game. Now, the network issues on Stadia didn't seem to affect the input lag. What it really affected was the resolution of the video and how choppy that video was. Now we're going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, input lag. Now, when I've played Google Stadia in the past, I've been playing with an Xbox One controller over Bluetooth, and the input lag there was almost negligible. It was very, very good. I had a good time, and I've told you that before. I've told you it was a great experience. And the lag with the Stadia controller, it just almost isn't there. This is like Amazon Luna level good. And that's because it connects directly to Google servers over Wi-Fi rather than going through Bluetooth first. If you asked me to choose which one was better, the Amazon Luna controller or the Google Stadia controller, I would give a slight edge to the Amazon Luna controller in terms of input lag, but I want you to understand that this is not a severely noticeable difference. Like, you're not going to have a bad time with the Google Stadia controller, especially if you have a great internet connection and you have a great Wi-Fi environment. Now, if you don't have a good internet connection, you probably should not be entertaining cloud gaming in the first place. So that's just kind of the situation that we're in to begin with. So how does this controller feel? Well, the first thing I'll say is that I am not in love with the D-pad being above the left analog stick. If you watched my video called 2020 Console War is Already Over, it was the first video on this channel that really took off, then you know that the first console that I had that wasn't a Nintendo system was an Xbox 360. And that means that I got used to the left analog stick being above the D-pad. And that's just what I'm comfortable with. So that's kind of a non-starter for me. The other thing about this controller is it just kind of feels like a chunkier DualShock 4, and that is not a compliment. The DualShock 4 is one of my least favorite controllers. It's really chunkier in a bunch of ways. You can kind of see it's like slightly taller, it's wider on the handles, it's even like slightly thicker. All of that's great. One of my big gripes about the DualShock 4 is that it's like kind of just too small, but it's just not quite there for me. The other thing about this is that I like to let my fingers rest on the triggers. And with this controller, that's not really natural for me. When I was doing a little bit of Destiny, my fingers rested on the bumpers. That's not really natural. I want to reach here if I'm gonna fire. I really want to let my fingers rest on these triggers and then bump over with the sides of my fingers. That ended up not being how this controller fits in my hand naturally. The last thing I'll say about this controller is that there's an assistant button on this controller. I am sure that that button does something if you play on a Google device like a Chromecast Ultra or maybe even a Chromebook, but when I was playing on Chrome on PC or in Stadium on iOS, it wasn't useful to me. Now, this is my channel, so of course, we're going to talk about the business model. And Stadia has a lot going on here. There's really sort of three things you need to know. The first is that there's totally free games that you can play. And I believe that there's only two of them. I believe it's just Destiny 2 and Super Bomberman R Online. I believe that those are the only two games that are totally free. You can tell me in the comments if there's another one that I missed. The next thing you can do is have a free account, but purchase games. These are full price games, $60 games, whatever your game costs. You buy the game, it runs in 1080p, and it is a purchase game just like you might purchase a game for your console. You can play it in Chrome, you can play it on your Chromecast Ultra, on your Android device, wherever. It just runs on Google Stadia. The third option is a Stadia Pro subscription. Stadia Pro gets you three things. It gets you 4K output. Remember I said those games run in 1080p, but if you have a Stadia Pro subscription, they can run in 4K on supported devices. It also gets you a discount on a bunch of games, and it gets you a set of pro games that you can claim for free at any time. These are included games in the Pro subscription. If you stop paying for Pro, you no longer have access to those games, but any non-Pro user can purchase those games just like any other game on the service at any time. And look, I understand this business model, and I understand that people are smart. They're going to be able to get what's going on. I do still think that this three-level business model is a little too complicated if Stadia really wants to take off. And I just don't want to buy games that only live in the cloud. I at least want to have the ability to download them to a console locally. I am aware how that sounds in 2020. It probably sounds similar to the people who were afraid of digital games when we were moving from disc to digital in the late 2000s. But I just can't justify spending $60 on Cyberpunk 2077 for Google Stadia. Hell, I can't justify spending $60 on Cyberpunk 2077 at all, but that is a separate conversation. So, is Google Stadia for me? Hey, it's me from the future again, and you know as well as I do now that I had some issues with my connection on Google Stadia when playing on my PC, and I do think that that inconsistency is reason enough for me not to recommend it. However, I wanted to leave my initial takeaway in here so that you could watch it, considering when I originally tested this out, I didn't run into those issues. So here that is for you. Well, if you watched my Amazon Luna video, you are probably gonna have a little deja vu. Everything about this service is great. It looks great. I mean, we know better now. The input lag concerns are overblown and that lag is getting better and better, but the business model is just not for me. I know that there are people who want to buy their games, and I know that those people watch my videos because I see those comments. I just don't think that there are enough people that want to buy their games that are also comfortable with those games only living in the cloud. That overlap is just not big enough, I think, for Stadia to maintain this business model and really take off in the way that Google wants it to. I think most people will balk at paying $60 for a video game that only lives in the cloud. Cloud gaming to me only makes sense as a subscription service. And I mean, come back to me in a couple years and make me eat my words. Tell me I was wrong in my comments, but that's how I feel today. But right now, I think Amazon Luna is closer to getting it right, and Xbox Game Pass nails it. I'm not gonna dig too deep because I have 2 whole videos on the things I love about the new consoles coming, but I think Xbox Game Pass nails it by having all-in-one subscription streaming, all-in-one subscription downloads, and single purchase-based downloads. That's the 3 right ways to do it, at least in my book. And to get the experience right, I think Stadia has more room to grow in terms of business model than Amazon Luna does. I think you can see it just in navigating the home interface. There's just not that many games available on that first screen. It's more fun to scroll around Amazon Luna's home screen than it is to scroll around Google Stadia's, because Amazon Luna shows you more games. But you can tell me what you think in the comments. I am not the arbiter of truth here. Does it work for you? Y'all, the year is wrapping up and I have some awesome videos coming your way. I'm gonna be doing a couple of best ofs or top 5s or whatever you wanna call them about the new consoles and the things that I love about them. But first, I'm gonna tell you about my top 5 games of 2020. And I promise you that there's gonna be games in there that you're not gonna expect. So like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you can see all 3 of those videos when they go live. And I'll see y'all next time.